Peter from Cars and Guitars. This is part 2 of the video series on how to build a fiberglass fender extension. As soon as I'm done grinding this down, I'll stop and I'll explain how the process is done. Now when working in your shop, the most important thing to practice is safety. Especially with fiberglass, it's a very fine dust, and if it gets in your lungs, it'll be with you forever. Polyester resin is an aliphatic resin, and it lasts for a long time. It'll never come out of your lungs. If you notice, when I was grinding, I was wearing safety glasses to protect my eyes, and I was wearing a respirator to protect my lungs. Very, very important. I was using a 24 grit disc on a variable speed grinder. I was using it at a very slow speed to minimize the dust, but still it creates a huge amount of dust. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you how I ground down, or what I ground down on the foam. The polyester resin will stick to the foam. Now you don't have to take it out. You can leave it in there if you want, encase it in the fiberglass as you go along. But I want to pull it out because I'm going to be painting the underside of this body, and I want it to look nice, so I'm going to be cutting that out. So what I'll be doing first is laying down a layer of wax paper. This will prevent the fiberglass from sticking to the foam. Now I'll be putting down a layer of glass cloth. This is about a 9-ounce cloth. It comes thick and very thin, like silk, like a 3/4 ounce cloth. But this is about a 9-ounce cloth I'll be using for strength. And then I'll be building up the layers with fiberglass matting. This also, you can see, comes apart very easily. You want to protect your hands, wear gloves so you don't get the resin on your hands, and you want to wear a respirator so none of these fibers get in your lungs. I'm going to be using a polyester resin. Don't need much of that, just got a quart of that, fairly cheap. And a bunch of small brushes. You can get dollar brushes from Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart carry just a bunch of cheap brushes. So what I'll do is I'll show you how I'm going to put these down in layers and what it's going to look like when I'm finished. Now I've thoroughly cleaned the surface with lacquer thinner, being careful not to touch the foam because the lacquer thinner will melt the foam. But you can see I have the wax paper covering up just to the edge of the foam, and what I'm starting to do now is put the cloth down. If you can see, which is difficult from this picture, this lip here is fairly high. It's about 1/4 inch, at least 1/8 to 1/4. It'll accommodate the fiberglass. So when I push the fiberglass into here like this, it'll end up a little bit below it and allow me to finish the rest of the fender with a filler, fiberglass filler. But all I'm doing is I'm taping the fiberglass like this, taping the cloth around, and I'm trying to get it as close to the edge as possible. And I will put some resin along here because that makes it a lot easier to cut. Fiberglass is tough to cut when it's just like this. So if you put the resin on here and fill it in, it's very easy to cut. Here's what the fiberglass looks like taped around the foam. The wax paper is underneath. You can see I've cut many slits in the fiberglass and wrapped it around. But the glass covers, the fiberglass cloth covers way past where I ground. And I'm looking on the inside, you can see it's just wrapped around the inside. And that's all you need to do. Now I'm going to mix up the resin and put it on the fiberglass cloth. Remember, the polyester resin is an aliphatic resin, very dangerous. The catalyst for the resin is MEK peroxide methyl ketone. That is a organic peroxide, and it's very dangerous if you get on your skin. It'll absorb right in your skin, especially if you get in your eye. Extremely dangerous. It can start to dissolve your eye and cause blindness. So again, safety glasses and gloves when you do this part. Now I'm going to mix up the resin, and I'm going to dip it in, and I'll put it on here, and I'm going to be dabbing it like this. I want to fully saturate this cloth. Fully saturate all the way around, even the seam where I have the cloth comes together here. I'm going to saturate all the way down, and I'm going to get the edge. Now in order to protect the floor of your shop, you're going to want to put something down on the floor because it's going to drip, and it'll be there forever because it's very sticky, and it flows into every crack and crevice. So I'll put the resin on, and when I'm done with that, I'll show you how that looks. Okay, so here's the resin dry. You can see that I've already cut along this edge with a razor blade, and I've cut off all the extra fiberglass cloth that was up here. Coming around the inside, you can see that I've already cut and trimmed this. It's fairly thin. It's a thin coat. You can see that it's still pretty flexible. If you have any areas where you have any bubbles where it's sticking up, don't worry about that. You can do what I did here. You can cut a slit with a razor blade, and then you can push it down and overlap it and fix that right after you put the matting on. Now that's what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to show you real quick, go around the fender well here. You can see that it's nice and clean. The adhesion over here is very, very good. It's completely stuck and glued right to that bottom surface, which is very important. So now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting matting down. The matting is just nothing. I cut a bunch of squares, and I'm going to start to build this up all the way around where it's in the center here, where it's a dish. And I'll build it up to the edge, and I'll build up to this edge, and the idea is to create the shape of the fender. I want to create a edge here, something I can follow, and I want to make it the profile of the finished fender. And it just takes time. You put some matting down, you coat it, saturate it, you put some more on top of it, saturate it, and you keep on going until you're just about above where you want to be finished with the profile of the fender. Okay, I have a couple layers of the fiberglass matting on, and it is completely dried. Right through the center there's all matting in there, all the way down to the back. I put a layer on the outside to make the lip. And now what I want to do is I want to start to peel this mold out of here. And I just want to show you how this works. I'm going to start at one side. Let me see if I can get the camera to sit still. Okay, it's like that. I'm just going to reach in here. Just like this. Start to pull this out. The wax paper is going to help that not stick in there. It came up pretty easy. I can continue to go down all the way around. Now, I'll start to get that after I'm done here, but I just wanted to show you what this looks like. It's a fiberglass shell. Now this is added on to the fender, and as I walk around the front here, you can see what I've created is a fiberglass extension. Alright, very simple. Takes time. I've done this all in one day, even though I've changed t-shirts a couple times. You could do this all in one day. Now I'm going to use a different product next. As soon as I get this mold out of here, I'll continue and show you what the next step is to make this start to flow together. Okay, the last step in this process would be to fill this in with tiger hair. This entire area here. Tiger hair is just polyester resin mixed with stranded fiber. It's like a Bondo, but it's a lot stronger. You fill in this area, fill it in all the way around, and then sand it up, go all the way up to the gel coat, and then put some finishing coats of a body filler, polyester body filler, and go around the edges. But I wanted to show you that it's very easy to do. I did this in a couple days, and what I have done so far, and I told you I would cut the inside off, is you can see that once the inside is cut off, you can go in there and blend that real easily around the entire fender well. And it comes around the front and it blends down to the front. And the nice thing about the whole thing is that now you can see that from the front of the car that the tire is well inside the fender well. You can look in here, and if I put my hand here and go straight up, it's going to come right inside that wheel well. Now I won't have to worry about the tire hitting the wheel well, and it looks a lot cooler. It's extended about 4 to 5 inches in the front on the bottom here, and then it narrows out, goes out at the top, and then it comes around the back, and it gives me a nice flare for a mud flap in the back. So that'll be it for this series. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, Peter from Cars and Guitars.